There's no blacks in Waupun.
No.
People wouldn't know where who they are.
We used to have a noose outside of town back in the 60s that said, you caught in town, you're dead. I mean, a noose.
Yeah.
For blacks.
All right, well, we're here in Wapakoneta, and I guess you're one of the 2 black people that live here, or how does it work?
Yeah, I'm about I've seen another black person here. I mean, I haven't actually come in any contact with them, so, you know.
There's only 2 black people in town then, or?
I'll say 3 total that I've seen, including myself.
Now I'm learning more than I want to know about Neil's hometown. I'm on my way through the cornfields of central Ohio to the Armstrong birthplace. The Armstrong house. Strange, well-maintained, with a ham radio antenna on the roof. Who is living here now? What is the secret of Neil Armstrong? Why won't he or his friends talk? What is going on here? I look for Neil everywhere, including here at this observatory atop a neighbor's garage, where as a boy he first studied the planet he was destined to one day walk on, allegedly.
He had a nice personality.
He had a nice personality. He was
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of quiet. I mean, he never liked to
He
brag
never
about,
liked to brag.
never liked to
anything.
brag about anything.
Yeah, we're proud of him.
I happen on the fact that Neil played in a local band. I tracked down one of the original members of this group, who has just returned to retire here in Wapakoneta.
I got this out this morning. It hasn't been out of the case for 5 years. I play clarinet and baritone sax and bass clarinet mostly. We had this little German band. It was called the Mississippi Moonshiners. And Neil played baritone and tuba.
He played the tuba.
Yeah, he played baritone, horn, and tuba. We had lights. It would blink on and off and on and off, and it would spell out Mississippi Moonshiner. Neil made that for us. We used to make model airplanes and fly them out of his window. We would tighten up the band on them, the old model that you put the paper around. And then we'd set them on fire and see how long they would last, and the neighbors would get mad at us.
Do you think Neil could have been part of a hoax like that?
That's the first that's ever been brought to my attention. Anyone that believes that must have a lot of oatmeal in their head.
If you could say something to Neil right now, what would you say to him?
Where in the world have you been? What all have you done? Tell me. I'd really like to know that.
And I'd like to know what Neil's up to also. But I travel throughout Ohio searching for him with no success.
Hornet reports a sonic boom a short time ago.
Time for the splashdown in recovery of the Apollo 11 crew.
Apollo 11 Houston, in the blind, Airbus has a visual contact. Apollo 11, this is Hornet, over. Apollo 1, this is Apollo 11, reading your last course. Our position 1330, 6915. 11 Hornet, copy, 133016.
What if the capsule came from outer space and the astronauts weren't even in there? Or worse yet, maybe it was dropped by an Air Force C-130. There's only one way to find out, so I tracked down the Navy frogman who was the first to open the capsule door upon splashdown. He agrees to meet me aboard the original recovery vessel, the USS Hornet, now a museum in Oakland, California.
From my own standpoint, there is no question that it happened. And the reason was because I saw the command module come down through the atmosphere. I saw it when it was too high to have been dropped by any plane. I traced it with my own eyes. That was the most vivid memory I have, as it came down, almost caught between night and day. I watched it splat with the chutes open. I watched it splash down. It never left my eyesight. When they came out, one of them, I don't know which one it was, said something to me. That was the first words that were spoken as they came out of the command module. Now, this is what they said, filtered through the gas mask. And I'm thinking to myself, what was that? I figured I have to reply back in kind. And not knowing what they said, I just mimicked it. Went roll, 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 roll. So that was the first exchange between astronauts and a human being here on the Earth.
I believe Clancy saw the astronauts when he opened the capsule door. But did they really walk on the moon? NASA claims that 12 people have been there. Commander Gene Cernan belongs to this exclusive club, allegedly being the last to leave the moon's surface.
I went to the moon twice, once in Apollo 10, and we came close, but didn't land. Went back as commander of Apollo 17.
I was strolling on the moon one day in the merry month of December.
But being a commander, I was also the last to get in the spacecraft, so I guess I'm known as the last man to have left my footprints on the moon because I was the last one to have left the surface of the moon. You know, I chuckle. The shadow's not in the right direction.
Right here they claim there's a letter C on the rock. Are there any stage hands on the moon when you were there?
No, there weren't any stage hands on the moon when I was there.
I asked Gene why there was no crater under the lunar lander.
Thank God there's not a crater there. We might be in it because we shut the engine down some 3 meters above the surface. So, and we literally free fell that last 9 or 10 feet. And the reason we did that, if we kept the engine running all the way down to the surface, it truly would have dug a crater. The back pressure would have blown back up in the engine and probably blown us off the moon.
Did Neil Armstrong use the same techniques when he
Absolutely. If you ever want to understand what the infinity of space and the infinity of time is, you have to stand on the surface of the moon and look at the Earth. And look at the Earth, it's all its splendor, it's all its beauty, a three-dimensional Earth, surrounded by this infinite blackness, the infinity of space and time which goes on forever. And it's a blackness that surrounds you, standing in sunlight, that blackness surrounds you. As I said, that's a paradox, but on the moon it's truth. We went to the moon. I was there. I know what it's like to be in 1/6 gravity. I know what it's like to be in a lunar module that's got one engine that's got to burn 7 minutes and 14 seconds, or you're going to crash into oblivion. Quite frankly, if people don't believe I went to the moon, they're missing a great deal of humankind's adventure. Perhaps one of the greatest human endeavors in the history of mankind took place, and we were part of it. We lived it. We saw it.
We'd like to share a piece of this rock with so many of the countries throughout the world. We hope that this will be a symbol, mankind, that we can live in peace and harmony in the future.
Gene seems like he's telling the truth. But remember, he didn't fly on the Apollo 11 mission. Now, at the end of my journey, I seem to have more questions than answers. Why are the telemetry tapes missing? Why won't Neil Armstrong talk? Why were the KKK allowed inside the Kennedy Space Center during the 1960s? And finally, why were documented Nazi war criminals allowed to work on our nation's most important and secret projects? Now at this point, because not even the most powerful telescopes can zoom in on that spot on the moon, I can't 100% absolutely prove that we went there. But the physical evidence should still be there, and experts predict that by the year 2020, tourists will be traveling to the moon, and you'll be able to see the landing site for yourself. Until then, well, what do you think? Did we go?